How do you get something from nothing? Not easily, it would seem. From empty chaos, somehow sea and earth and air appeared. They drifted around, pieces of each getting lost in the other. No water was swimmable, no land was walkable, no gas was breathable. Anything hot could quickly turn cold. Anything cold could burst into flames. Shapes shifted, textures shifted. Objects merged one into the other effortlessly. Then suddenly, slam. One or both turned inexplicably hard. What was heavy became weightless. What was weightless crashed through earth and sea and air, shattering and splattering and scattering bits of everything and nothing. Rules of nature? They didn't operate. Indeed, there was no nature. There was nothing reliable in this turmoil except lack of order. And lack is the essence of need. Out of that original need came a mother force, Gaia. All on her own. Need can do that. Gaia sucked up heat and stored it in her heart. She wrapped herself round and round with anything solid she could reach, growing firmer with each layering. She pulled together her glassy sands, lifting them, grain by grain free of air, to form deserts, free of water, to form beaches. She pushed together gigantic plates of rock until her mountains rose high, so far from her scalding heart that snows settled on their peaks. As Gaia disentangled herself from the waters and the gases, the seas fell together in giant puddles, the heavens arched over it all. In this way the emergence of Gaia led to both the wholeness of the seas, called Pontus, and the wholeness of the heavens, called Uranus. Gaia is the flowing circle of heat, whose energy allowed land and sea and air to gather and welcome life. She's known as Mother Earth. But Gaia was generous, as a mother should be. She opened her veins so water could rush through rivers and creeks, and pool together in large low lakes and small hidden ponds. She yielded here and there to the gases, allowing crevices to cradle them. One in particular was huge and gaping, the waiting hole for the dead. But at this point she didn't know that. She knew things only as they happened, like a child encountering everything for the first time. She created the whole almost as though she understood instinctually all the gain and loss that would follow from her generosity. The seas learned from Gaia and welcomed islands. The skies learned from Gaia and welcomed stars. And then the seas and skies went further and worked together to cycle water from the salty seas to the skies, then fresh and sweet to the lands, who returned it once more to the seas. But Gaia was not the only child of the enormous original need. There were two others. One was Tartarus, the underworld. The other was Eros, the god of love. Then chaos gave a giant yawn and out flowed the total darkness of night as well as Erebus. Erebus, like Gaia, was a place as well as a force, seeking to fill crannies. Erebus settled into the hole for the dead and became the upper part of the underworld. Eros was beautiful, but not ordinary beautiful. Eros' beauty made the others quiver. It made them dream of being enveloped in warm caresses, of getting drunk on thick creamy honey, of swooning from ambrosia, of whirling to tinkling music, of being dazzled by sparkles in this lightless world. So night and Erebus fell in love, and night gave birth to day. And with light, in the lushness of fresh and salty water and in the expansiveness of air, life on earth began. Grasses and vines wound their way around the globe. Bushes gently bloomed. Gaia watched night and Erebus with envy. She felt so alone. She was the cause of all this wonder, yet none of it satisfied her. She was hungry, longing, needy. And so she turned to the heavens and the seas, Uranus and Pontus. She loved them both, of course. But Uranus seemed soothing, while Pontus seemed raging. So she chose Uranus as her husband. Uranus was the god of heaven. He was the brother of the sea god Pontus. And the earth goddess Gaia chose him for her husband. Uranus spread himself over Gaia, enveloping her in that comforting way that the sky has on warm spring and summer nights. He dazzled her with stars, fulfilling the dreams that Eros had given her. He swirled through her trees, setting leaves a tremble. He wafted across her meadows, freeing milkweed seeds to float everywhere, everywhere. He was tender. That's what she loved the most. That's what made earth and sky harmonious. They inspired each other, and then Pontus, as well. The three were partners. Soon the lands ran with all manner of wild beasts, the skies hovered with hummingbirds and swooped with falcons, the seas teemed with gleaming fish. Under the beneficent smiles of Gaia and Uranus and Pontus, life in the universe pulsed and whispered and sang. In those songs, Gaia bore Uranus children, so many children. A flood of sons and daughters, 12 in all. Uranus was overwhelmed. These children were strong and large, and he feared they'd take over the far reaches of the universe. One wanted to play in the deepest swirls of the water. One wanted to shine from on high even brighter than Uranus himself. One wanted to play in the darkest corners of the underworld. On top of that, they were unruly. One asked questions incessantly. One acted all high and mighty and righteous. One behaved as though she were more motherly than even her bounteous mother Gaia. What presumption! These children were driving Uranus half crazy. They were too strong. They were too many. He called them the Titans, which meant stretchers, because they wanted to stretch themselves in every direction. They wanted power. That was it. That was exactly it. And if they should decide to conspire against him, Uranus shuddered in fear. They were his own children, but his heart turned cold at the very thought of them. And so he trapped them inside their mother, deep within the recesses of the earth. Yet Gaia loved Uranus. She bore him more children, but Uranus' fear poisoned them. They were 3 sons, strong, yes strapping in fact. But each had only one eye, set in the very middle of his forehead. Uranus called them the Cyclopes, which meant real eyes, and the very sight of them made his mouth go sour. Still Gaia loved Uranus. She bore him more children. By this point Uranus' fear had turned to hatred. The children of such a father couldn't help but be misshapen in hideous ways. They were 3 more sons, of exceptional power, but each had 50 heads and 100 arms shooting from his shoulders. Uranus turned his head away, his stomach roiling. And so Uranus kept them all his progeny with Gaia, imprisoned within the crevasses and caverns of the earth.